Alright, so there's this long run fantasy that in the animal kingdom, the Siberian tiger is the ultimate apex predator. It's like the final boss of the jungle, tundra, and every Animal Planet special in the early 2000s. And honestly, that reputation isn't just hype. We're talking about an animal that's been known to straight up murk entire wolf packs and earn the title bear killer. Well, black bear killer to be precise. And these tigers are even strong enough to drag around fully grown elk and Ussuri boar carcasses through the snow like it's hauling groceries to its den. And that's no small feat, by the way. The elk and boars can weigh over 600 pounds, and the snow adds actually serious resistance. So yeah, the Siberian tiger is an absolute unit that deserves its street cred. In fact, it's so deadly that scientists literally advised locals to wear masks on the back of their heads to avoid getting ambushed. So yeah, in its natural habitat, the Siberian tiger is the apex carnivore. And besides one exception, which we'll discuss later by the way, nothing in its environment really stacks up. No spoilers just yet though. But let's take a step back, okay? Yeah, the tiger glazing these days is really getting out of hand. Yeah, the Siberian tiger is a majestic, muscular assassin that haunts the nightmares of everything from deers to bears. But here's the hard truth. Just because you're a big cat does not mean you're invincible. Far from it actually. When you break down the tiger's stats, you know its razor teeth, retractable claws, and elite ambushing skills, it becomes clear. This thing is built for assassination, not war. It's a precision striker, not a tank. And when you throw it into the octagon with some of nature's heaviest hitters, animals that outweigh it, outmuscle it, and outlast it, yeah, that king aura starts to fade fast. So today, we're answering a simple question. What animals would actually humble a Siberian tiger? Well, people, some of these picks make perfect sense, and others, yeah, might raise an eyebrow. Until you realize these creatures have built-in cheat codes. Oh, and yes, there is one rivalry we'll be touching up on that has gotten so heated that some scientists have allegedly lost their jobs over it. Yeah, you're gonna want to stick around for that one. But before we roll out the list, let's get some baseline stats. What does the Siberian tiger bring to the table? Well, first off, let's kill a myth right now, because this right here drives me nuts. Despite what you've probably heard growing up, the Siberian tiger is actually not the largest big cat according to current scientific research. Now I know some of y'all are used to hearing that these tigers can reach up to 600 plus pounds, but you should listen to this carefully, okay? The key phrase is up to 600 plus pounds. That does not mean the average that weight. You know, it's like saying humans can weigh up to 1,000 pounds. Technically true, but completely misleading of what the average human looks like. And I don't know why so many people insist on using the absolute largest obese captive tiger as if it was just some normal benchmark. It's not, okay? It warps people's perception and creates this fantasy version of a tiger that really doesn't match up to reality. Yeah, those supersized 600 plus tigers, they're very obese, very rare, and almost always in captivity. Basically unhealthy outliers, not the norm. In reality, the average male Siberian tiger clocks in between 353 to 418 pounds. Still impressive, but let's not inflate the numbers just because it sounds cooler on some Reddit thread. Okay, so now that we gotten all that straightened out, let's give credit where it's due. Because even at average weight, Siberian tigers are monsters. These cats are built for violence. We're talking explosive power, terrifying agility, and some serious hardware. They have razor sharp claws that are specifically designed to rip through flesh like nothing, and canines built to actually puncture through muscle and arteries, which gives them great bite effectiveness and precision when it comes to lethality. You see, this is different than something like a crocodile's bite, which is basically meant for grabbing and dragging. Yeah, and the tiger supports a bite force that is said to be up to 1000 psi at full power, which by the way is strong enough to break through human bones. But perhaps what truly makes them so deadly is how they fight. And one thing tigers bring to the table when concerning other large carnivores is just their sheer agility and speed. You see, tigers actually have a hyper flexible spine and proportionally long humerus bones in their limbs. Now, what does that translate to? Well, tigers love to spring and lunge at their opponents. And when they brawl, yeah, they don't always fight like typical cats. You see, given their unique anatomy, tigers will stand up frequently frequently and bat at each other constantly with their paws. Essentially, their body makes them great strikers. In fact, they tend to specifically target the upper body portions of their opponents, like the shoulder and neck region. This essentially leaves wounds in a concentrated area. And yeah, if tigers do hunt larger opponents, they love to jump on their back and take advantage from their ambush. And yes, I said ambush, people, because tigers are ambush predators and don't just straight up brawl. Now listen, given their high percentage of fast twitch fibers and explosive power, they do not really have the best stamina. Usually tiger fights only last about a minute or two, and even when they do fight, it's pretty sporadic and not continuous as something like a bear. Okay, so what does all the information I have given you mean? Well, in order for the tiger to be beaten, an animal must have insane stamina and durability to where it can outlast the tiger and critically injure it, or it must just simply be so big and durable that the tiger's attacks can't really do much before getting completely bodied. Yeah, that's the bar. Now let's find out the few animals that can actually humble a Siberian tiger. By the way, these creatures are in no particular order, okay? So first one up, we have the grizzly / brown bear. Okay, now I've already broken this interaction down in several videos already, but here's the Cliff Notes version. The grizzly is just superior to the Siberian tiger in almost every single combat aspect, with a possible exception being agility. But let's talk about size real quick, okay? Inland grizzlies average around the 600-pound mark, but coastal brown bears, like the ones in Alaska, average around 840 pounds. Yeah, just their sheer mass alone puts them in a completely different weight class. Now, I'm not going to bring up the Kodiak brown bear into this because they grow to the size of polar bears. But here's the thing, it's not just weight, it's how that mass is distributed. Grizzlies are built like tanks. They have dense muscles wrapped in thick fat, covered in loose, coarse fur. Yeah, and all that is supported by a robust skeletal system. You see, tigers are muscular, yes, but they're actually quite slender, and their fur is not as thick, so penetrating the muscle and hurting the bones would be an easier task to do. And remember, they're built for stealth and speed, not head-to-head combat. The bear, it's built to absorb punishment and dish it out like some sort of medieval war machine. Yeah, their thick fur and fat layer makes strikes from the tiger significantly less effective, especially around the neck and shoulders, where loose skin can cause the tiger's teeth and claws to slip rather than sink in. Now let's bring up the grizzly's shoulder hump, right? It's actually muscle specifically designed for grappling and manipulating their opponents. And when it comes to fighting style, bears are natural wrestlers. They stand up, they grapple, they shove, and maul with terrifying force. The Siberian tiger can try to stand up to the grizzly on its slender frame, but it ain't gonna do anything. The bear has more robust and square-like hips, and given their enormous size advantage, the bear would straight up body the tiger. The only win con for the Siberian tiger is if it instantly flips the bear on its back, manages somehow to pin it down with its slender frame, by the way, and bites the neck, which even then would be a hard task to do given the loose fitting fur around its neck. Yeah, and no reality is that ever happening. Grizzlies and brown bears, by the way, have insane stamina and endurance, which utterly puts the tigers to shame. So as the fight goes on, the chance of the tiger winning keeps going down. Now, I already know some of y'all are gonna bring up the whole Siberian tigers hunt brown bears argument. No, that's a misunderstanding and a thing blown right out of proportion. They do not hunt male brown bears in a head-to-head fight. Once again, I have made multiple videos explaining that misconception. The tigers only hunt the juvenile and female brown bears in hibernation, with there being 0 recorded cases of them hunting male brown bears in a head-to-head fight. Why is that? Because they'd simply get wrecked. But anyways, yeah, the grizzly / brown bear clears the tiger. Oh, and while we're on the topic of famous North American animals, how about the moose? Specifically, the Alaskan moose. Yeah, Alaska just breeds their animals differently, you know? But anyways, the bull moose. And when I say it's out of the Siberian tiger's weight class, I mean by a mile. People seriously seem to underestimate how massive a prime bull moose is. We're talking 1,200 to 1,600 pounds of pure muscle, standing between 6 to 7 feet tall. Yeah, you wish you had their height on a dating app. I mean, have you seen them stand next to cars and normal human stuff? They make them look like a toy. Yeah, the Alaskan moose has a certain final boss aura to it. In fact, bulls are so terrifyingly powerful that even adult grizzly bears don't attempt their fate with one. And if a grizzly bear doesn't want the beef, neither would the tiger. You see, with such an unusually tall stature and their compact bodies carved of muscle, it would be really hard for the Siberian tiger to actually get proper leveraging to do anything meaningful. And do you see how powerful and thick a bull moose neck is? It's like a tree trunk. Trying to bite the trachea while you have a 1,400-pound animal moving around ferociously while the tiger is dangling and fighting gravity is a very hard thing to do and next to impossible. And need I mention their huge, sharp antlers and tall, powerful legs? If the tiger doesn't get straight up bulldozed, it's getting trampled and kicked. Even if the tiger manages the courage to fight it, it would have to deal with the massive 3 to 4 times size disparity, awkward leveraging trying to hold on to something with such a tall posture, and the constant threat of getting trampled, kicked, or impaled. Oh, and in terms of stamina, moose can cover long distances through snow and swamps. They're no slouch in a prolonged encounter, and if a grizzly bear doesn't have any confirmed wins against a bull Alaskan moose in a straight up confrontation, the Siberian tiger, who is built for stealth and ambushes, not toe-to-toe slugfests, basically has no hope. Alright, but moving on to something the tiger lineage is a little more familiar with. We have the gar. These absolute units are one of the largest wild cattle in the world. And let me tell ya, this isn't just some big cow. This is a muscle bovid battle tank straight out of a wildlife strongman competition. I mean, have you seen the muscles on this thing? It takes animal bodybuilding to a whole other level. Yeah, these things are massive. Bull gars average between 1,600 to 2,200 pounds. Yeah, that's heavier than the Alaskan moose and is easily 4 to 5 times the size of a Siberian tiger. Yeah, I don't know about you, but the tiger's not moving this thing. And in fact, it's getting bulldozed by the gar's strong upper body and solid horns. Yeah, with the thick neck, broad chest, and explosive legs, it's like nature gave a water buffalo steroids and said, good luck to any carnivore in its vicinity. In fact, their upper bodies are so powerful that gars have been able to lift other gars off the ground with their heads in fights. So even if the tiger gets a lucky surprise pounce, pinning it or maintaining any sort of control is next to impossible against that level of bulk and resistance. But more importantly, they're armed. Those curved, razor-sharp horns aren't just for show. They're capable of goring and flipping any predator foolish enough to try its luck. Even the Bengal tiger, which shares the same habitat as the gar, doesn't risk direct confrontation with fully grown bulls. Bengal tigers are ambush assassins, just like their Siberian relatives. And even they know a frontal assault equals a one-way ticket to being impaled and stomped into the dirt. Simply put, if the Siberian tiger even gets close to an angry bull gar, it's gonna be turned into a helicopter. So yeah, in a 1v1 fight with an angry bull gar who has nothing but bad intentions, the Siberian tiger is getting overpowered, gored, and tossed like a pizza. It's cool and everything, but when talking about animals that are so much larger than a tiger, the next one on the list has a weight problem. Meet the southern elephant seal. Yeah, this is an absolute behemoth of an animal. Bulls range from a casual 3,300 pounds on the low end to an absurd 8,200 pounds on the high end. And oh, by the way, it has a length of 8 to 10 feet. Yeah, you heard me right. This thing is as large as a pickup truck. This beast is backed with insanely thick hide, dense fat, and of course a wad of muscle. What's the feline even gonna do against the Great Wall of Hide? Let me tell you, nothing. I doubt the tiger could even deliver any meaningful damage before it gets gassed. And these things don't just push each other around, they slam into each other like wrecking balls. The tiger could try to claw and bite at it all day and still not make it past the first layer of insulation. Let's not forget, elephant seals are mean. These guys have serious aggression during mating season, and they come equipped with a bone-crunching bite. Like seriously, have you seen their skulls? It makes a grizzly bear's look like a toy. Those jaws are designed to clamp down onto opponents and cause extreme damage. Now sure, the tiger is more agile, but let's be real. Trying to leap onto and control an animal bigger than your car is not something in the feline's playbook. It's not just about acrobatics anymore. It's just the sheer mass and insane durability that makes it very hard to beat. The tiger can bounce around all at once, unless it teams up with perhaps maybe a polar bear, it ain't doing anything. Bottom line, this is not a fight. This is a demolition, and the tiger's only win condition is to not be there. Anyways, we're down to the last two here, right? The last one's gonna be very controversial, but next up on the list is the Shire horse. Now I get it, many of y'all are probably thinking, a horse? Seriously? Yeah, seriously. This isn't just another farm animal or your grandparents' pet. It's the largest living horse breed. These living locomotives stand 70 inches tall at the shoulder, and by the way, when you include their long, powerful neck, the top of their heads reach about 6 foot 3 inches. Basically eye to eye with your average NBA point guard. And the weight? They clock in at a whopping 1,800 to 2,400 pounds. Yeah, that's about 5 times the size of a Siberian tiger. Now let's get one thing straight. This is the strongman of the horses. It's a living battering ram with incredible endurance, explosive power, and freakish strength. The tiger's usual strategy of lunging, grappling, and choking, yeah, that's not gonna work here. Why? Because first off, horses can buck, stomp, rear up, and even bite. And not just randomly, we're talking about an animal who is well coordinated and that's gonna be dynamically moving. You know, there's something called leverage, and the tiger just doesn't have it here. The horse's tall posture, constant moving body, and sheer mass advantage would not allow the tiger to obtain any kind of control at all during this fight. The tiger is not gonna bring down an animal of this size and caliber. If the Siberian tiger tries to go for a neck bite, yeah, good luck. Its bite would be deemed actually pretty ineffective at hitting vital spots due to the Shire horse's thick, muscular neck and strong bone vertebrae. And remember, the horse is gonna be constantly rearing up, running around, and can even bite the tiger once in range. Even if somehow the tiger gets lucky and manages to leap on the Shire horse's back, and now what? Seriously, what's the next move? The tiger's not gonna find a clean bite through all that thick mane and muscle. Meanwhile, the horse is bouncing like a mechanical bull on pre-workout. The tiger's gonna get bucked off, thrown to the ground, and probably kicked into a different tax bracket. Now let's not forget the stamina. The Shire horse pulls plows and hauls carts for hours. They've got lung capacity and endurance that blows the tigers straight out of water. So the tiger's likely gonna get gassed out before doing anything meaningful to the horse. And in a straight up brawl where they're both angry, yeah, that's when the horse goes full Captain America, I can do this all day type of vibe. Bottom line, the Siberian tiger is not just getting outmatched, it's getting outclassed. Okay, now before we go on to the last animal I want to cover, I want to let you guys know that here are some honorable mentions I couldn't add due to time's sake. I mean, I just didn't want to cover the obvious like elephants and hippos, okay? Anyways, we're down to the last one I'm gonna analyze. You ready? The South African lion. Oh, whoa. Before a total fight breaks out in the comment section, let me make something clear. I don't think this is a stomp in either direction. It's definitely a close one, okay? But personally, I think the South African lion edges out the Siberian tiger more often than not. Now, I'm not about to give you guys an entire scientific dissertation here. I've already made multiple videos breaking down the tiger versus lion debate. So if you want the full data, go watch those instead of dropping some emotionally driven big cat fanfiction in the comments, okay? But let's hit the key points here real quick. The average male South African lion weighs around 410 to 430 pounds, which is actually a little larger than the average Siberian tiger. And when it comes to build, they are actually rather different. You see, pound for pound, lions have a more robust bone structure and a stockier, denser upper body. In fact, multiple anatomical studies back this fact up. The Siberian tiger more or less supports an elongated and slender body, which granted makes them more agile and quick, but able to generate less power and are arguably less durable. Furthermore, lions support a larger and more muscular shoulder region and are just overall more top heavy. So kind of like a bulldog build here. And of course they got that thick mane, which although not impenetrable, does act as a buffer against strikes and slashes. And that is especially effective when concerning that tigers basically only attack the upper body region when fighting other big cats. But now let's talk about fighting style. Lions don't dance around and try to be all sleek. They charge forward, they stay grounded, and they engage in grappling based combats. Their anatomy actually allows them to wrestle far more effectively than tigers. And when they attack, they go for the whole body, striking the ribs, spine, and of course the neck region, not just the upper body portion like the tiger tends to do. And sure, the Siberian tiger has the edge in speed and agility, and yeah, it could maybe fluster the lion early on with its movements, but once the dust settles, the lion's bulkier frame, stronger grappling base, denser musculature, and overall brawling style gives it the upper hand in a drawn out fight. fight. That's just the reality. If you want a deep scientific dive with sources and proper analysis, check out the other videos I made on it. But for now, that's a wrap. Comment your thoughts, smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe.